And good evening. Welcome to the University of Dubuque Football Show with head football coach Ryan Mary. Going to join us here in just a moment on this Monday night off of the Spartan bye week. The University of Dubuque with last Saturday off, and so the Spartans did not play. The week before that played Luther College and had a happy homecoming with a 64-7 victory. And we'll talk about that here in just a moment. And a little bit later, we'll be catching up with Miles Hookstead in the assistant coach spotlight. He's the longest tenured of the Spartan coaches on staff with Coach Myeri, and we'll talk with him a little bit later in the program. And, of course, pretty big ball game this week with the Key City Clash taking place as the Spartans try to keep hold of the key as they take on the Loras College Dewhawks. And we'll talk about all of that here over the next half hour. And Coach Myeri, good to see you again after a week off. Are you relaxed and refreshed, ready to go for the rest of the season?
Oh, yeah. It was a nice little break, opportunity for our guys to kind of recover and for our staff, too, to get some family time and time away from football and recharge ourselves.
Let's talk about a little bit about that, how you approach the bye week. And like you said, it is sort of a time to refresh your batteries, unplug a little bit. Talk about what the week off consisted of for maybe your players.
Yeah, so for the players, pretty much from Monday till Thursday, it was pretty normal for them. They still had like their lifting schedule, and then we had practices as normal. Except for Thursday, we chose to go in the morning because it actually timed up nicely with fall break. So we did a morning practice on Thursday, did some community service in the morning till about the afternoon, and then they were free until they came back today.
I saw the community service work. Talk a little bit about that, out and about doing some cleanup?
Yeah, so we did the whole college, our university, we did Spartan Make a Difference Day. So our responsibility, we went and cleaned up downtown by Main Street there and hit a lot of different areas up. So it was really fun for our guys to kind of have that experience together. We kind of split up in groups with offense, defense, and then they broke up in smaller groups. It took some time to clean up downtown, and it was really good camaraderie builder, but also good to help clean up Dubuque and, be kind of like interwoven into the community.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That certainly is a super part of it, and a Key City Clash this week, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. But last time you're on Chalmers Field, big homecoming win, 64-7 over Luther College, and really, I mean, you look at the stat sheet and just a dominating performance from kickoff to the end of the ballgame.
Yeah, and, our whole mindset going into the game and through the game and what it should be going forward is we want to play to our standard, and we want to keep improving ourselves and not worry about who we're playing against so much. And so no matter who lines up across from us, like, we want to operate at the highest level that we can, and for the most part, the greater part of that game, we did.
You really did. I mean, you looked at the stats, 559 yards total offense, 33 first downs to 7 for Luther. Luther with 123 yards of total offense, so really domination on both sides of the ball, 12 of 15 third down conversions you were. And you had a 41-7 halftime lead, and the offense just running very efficient behind your freshman quarterback who got the start, Joey Romberg.
Yeah, yes, sir. And it was good to see that. It was a good opportunity for him to get a lot more experience again and lead the offense with Ben being down still with his injury. So it was a lot of good experience for him to go out there and do that. And he played pretty efficient for the most part of the game. He did a great job of extending plays. Sometimes, Luther played pretty well in spurts there, and he did a good job of extending plays and finding receivers down the field, and receivers did a good job of kind of playing with him, almost like backyard-type football, and created some big play opportunities out of it.
Mm-hmm. All your guys, a lot of your guys got a chance to play, and, all three quarterbacks came in 38 of 46, 418 yards, 7 touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah, that's a good day, right?
Yeah.
And, I think we've had some turnover issues earlier in the season. We threw quite a few picks in a couple of games, 2 games specifically, and we did a good job of minimizing that. Now, we did have 3 fumbles, though, in the game, 1 in the first half, and that I think that was one of 2 drives in the first half where we didn't score and we were driving. We had a fumble on that series, and then we had 2 later in the game. In fact, that was their only score of the game, was a fumble return for a touchdown. So we still got to do a better job of protecting the football, and, because in a tighter game or like that could be the difference, is protecting the football. So we got to be mindful of that going forward, and those are things that we'll be focused on.
Talk about the defensive performance a little bit more. Luther just 7 first downs, and as I mentioned, under 200 yards total offense. So really doing a lot of good things on that defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, we're doing a great job of flying around. Like, we did relinquish some yards, or they made a couple plays and took advantage of some things. But our guys did a good job of responding, and that's what they've done all season, is be resilient and keep battling. And they don't, hey, one play is not going to beat us. They keep coming back to the next play and the next play and the next play. And that's good to see from our defense. And I feel like our team is starting to do that overall, in all 3 phases of the game. So that's exciting.
Mm-hmm. Another phase, I think you have to be pleased with just 3 flags on the day. As you want to play a clean game, and you're limiting those penalties a little bit more. And sometimes when a game gets away from you, maybe you can, when you're having a blowout game, start to lose focus perhaps a little bit, but you didn't.
Yeah, our guys stayed dialed in, and they did a really good job of that. And again, that goes back to what we're emphasizing is, playing clean football and, protecting the football. We didn't protect the football as well as we could have, but we did a good job of eliminating some of those penalties, pre-snap, post-snap, and then also in between the whistle penalties. That was one of our better games in terms of that.
Just some other guys' contributions, looking at the individual stat sheet on the receiving side. Hunter Preston, 3 touchdown catches, a hat trick, if you will, and with touchdown catches, 94 yards, 113 yards for Cameron Bryce. So it's been a day at the office for him that you've kind of expected this season, but contributions up and down the lineup there. Yeah,
it was good to get a lot of guys involved in the game, and then not just like physically on the field, but also to be able to touch the football and be a part of that. And I think there was a number of guys that probably had to be close to double-digit guys that touched the football on that day. So that's a really good thing for us offensively when we can do that, distribute the football and spread it around, and allow guys those opportunities. And some of them really capitalized on it. Yeah, Hunter had a huge day. 3 touchdowns in a game is not easy to do, and to do it in the first half is even better.
No doubt about that. And, defensively, you were pretty even as far as the tackle sheet goes. So a lot of guys contributing on that side of the ball. And second interception of the season for Channing Williams.
Yeah.
He's tied in the American Rivers Conference now.
Oh, really?
I think for at least the conference stats.
Yeah. He's made some big plays for us. Against Simpson, he had the pick six that started out the second half. That was huge for us. That was the only points we scored in the second half, so that was big. And then, he came out big in this game too, had another big pick, and that was huge for us.
So just before we leave the Luther game, obviously 64-7 win. You're happy going to 2-1 in American Rivers Conference play. But as you graded the game after you thought about it for a while and broke it down with the coaches, overall pleased over the entire effort.
Yeah, I'm really pleased with our guys. They continue to show up every day, and we've had a really challenging schedule, and that's what we're excited for is these opportunities. And this week coming up will be the same thing. Like, the guys should relish this opportunity to go out and compete, and no matter who we're lined up across from, and our guys have been responding to that really well. I couldn't be more proud of them, honestly. Like, they keep doing everything that we're asking of them, and they do it to their best. And that doesn't mean we don't have slip-ups here and there, but we're keep pushing forward, and our guys are excited to be going at it today. I actually asked them that when we showed up to the meeting. It was as enjoyable as it was to be with my family and spend time with them. Like, I think our whole household actually was just like missing out on football over the weekend and being around the guys, and we ended up just watching football all weekend. So it was, we're excited to be back today. Our guys are excited to be back today. So we can't wait to get back to work on the field.
I guess one more thing we could talk about is the homecoming crowd. It was just an awesome atmosphere with the helicopters, two of them bringing in the balls. And I know you guys stayed as far back as you could from that. I know you wanted to see what was going on, but, you got to give them some space.
We got to watch the trial run on that Thursday before, which was really cool to see. It's really cool just to kind of see them, loop around and, they're showing up, and then all of a sudden they're landing on the field. That was really cool. And then, game day. I guess last year one wasn't enough, so we went for two this year. And
who knows what's in store for next year?
Yeah, we might have one of them stealth bombers show up or something like that.
Drop the football from above.
Drop
the game ball in that way. But just their ability in that. It was a windy day that day, and just be able to navigate those copters and put them right on the 35-yard line.
Yeah, I think we had up to 30+ mile-an-hour gusts that day, and I didn't think they were going to do it. I don't know what the requirements are to fly those things, but I was like, I'd be shocked if they did it. And they actually did it different than the trial run, the test run on Thursday. They came in from this side, and I think on game day they came from this side, probably because of the direction of the wind or something.
Something about the wind, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm not a helicopter expert either, so maybe we better stick to what we
we'll just stick
here
to
talk about instead of talking about football. Well, when we do come back with head coach Ryan Myeri, it is Key City Clash Week, and we're going to talk about the game with the Duhawks, preparations for that. As we continue, so we'll continue with more of the UD Football Show here with head coach Ryan Myeri in just a moment. Yeah, drop it in with the stealth bomber.
That would be wild.
Send that one to Joe, Paul, so they can get working on that. Back on our University of Dubuque football show with head coach Ryan Myrie here on Monday night, and there's actually been a Spartan JV game going on right now. An exciting ball game, 6-0 score with Clark on top. And coach, tell me this is the last JV game of the season. You had got 2 of them scheduled this year, and you're hoping to do more in the following years.
Yeah, yes, sir. We had 2 this year. We were a little late to being able to sign up for games or schedule games. We tried a number of places. And we were able to work out 2. Hopefully down the road we're able to do maybe 4 to 6, depending on how we're doing depth-wise, but also like opponents that are willing to play us. So yeah, that would be exciting for us and for the development of our guys in our program.
No doubt about that. Well, you were off this past Saturday, but the other teams in the American Rivers Conference were in action, and I guess highlighted by the Central Co game, which Co did defeat Central in overtime. So looking at the American Rivers Conference race, sort of expected that it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, it's a gauntlet. You know, week in and week out, our league is really good. It's talented from top to bottom, and you know that was obviously a big time game, and it went down to the wire and pushed to OT and all that good stuff, and you know, it was a great battle.
Well, let's talk about this week. Preparations underway for the Key City Clash, the University of Dubuque and Loras College. So this Saturday you'll travel 6 blocks over, or approximately, over to the Rock Bowl, that long road trip. Your first coaching experience with the Key City Clash. So, you know, I know you probably knew a little bit about it where you're at Central, but till you're actually in the city and you're on campus, it takes on a whole new feel, right?
Yeah, it does. I'm super excited about this. Our guys are excited about it. You know, I love tradition. That's something that we're building upon here. You know, the great tradition and legacy that's in place, and you'll get to talk to Coach Hookstead about his experience here and all that good stuff. And you know, we're building off of that, and it's cool to be a part of a game like this in an inner city rivalry. Like, I've never been a part of anything like that, so I think that's a really cool opportunity for the university and you know, for our players. And you know, when I was at University of Minnesota, there was like multiple trophy games that university plays in, and one of them's with Iowa, you know, for Floyd or Rosedale. And you know, going into those games, like, everybody knew what you were playing for, and there's some pride that's invested in that, not just the game itself or for a conference or anything like that, but you know, there's that little extra element with a rivalry game like that. So it's special to be a part of that. I'm really excited.
Yeah, you know, like you mentioned, it is really a unique rivalry because it's an inner-city matchup, 2 institutions in the same city and, you know, close in distance. And I don't know if there's a lot of college rivalry games like that. I can think of UCLA, USC in Los Angeles, but, you know, not a lot of in-city, you know, college matchups. So that does make it
it's unique. I mean,
Loras folks see Dubuque folks, and the players see the other players,
yep.
So that makes it interesting.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's very unique, and yeah, I'm just excited to be a part of it and be here on the journey with the guys.
Well, overall, Dubuque trails in the overall matchups with Loras, 19-28, but UD's won 12 consecutive last year, 35-23. But the previous 5 ball games up to that, 1-score ball game, 7 points or less. So it's doesn't seem to matter what the records are. It's going to be a battle.
Yeah, the records do not matter, especially when you get in rivalry games. Like, all bets are off when it comes to this. So we got to come ready, bring our A game. We expect them to do the same thing. So we're excited for a great contest. You know, they're coming off a big win, and so they're going to have some momentum, and they're going to be ready to play. So we got to do the same thing.
Just going to mention that the Duhawks coming off of their first win last Saturday, they went up to Luther College and came home with a victory. And so let's talk a little bit about what you know about Loras. You probably maybe were able to watch a little of that game, but you'll probably break that down a little bit more. But you've seen them throughout the season. I know they struggled with some injury situations, but you know, just talk about what you've seen from Loras this season.
Yeah, they're battling the injury bug, and which is unfortunate. You know, they haven't had their starting quarterback for the last couple of weeks, but their guy that's kind of gone in place for them now has got a couple of games under his belt, and you can see his improvement. He's making steady improvement week in and week out. He had a great game against Luther on Saturday. They showed a lot of improvement battling through those injuries. So as those guys continue to get more experience, the better that they're playing together as a team. So both sides of the ball, they've dealt with their fair share of injuries, you know, and that's tough. It's tough as a coach to deal with that, and it's tough for the players too to kind of like figure out where they fit in. to that. And they've had a lot of guys that stepped up, though. They got some guys playing in positions that they weren't necessarily playing at the beginning of the season. So we got to be mindful of that. Both sides of the football, like where guys are lining up and how we can use that to our advantage or take advantage of.
Mm-hmm. One game you may have gotten to take a look at was a game previous that they played against Coe College. And Coe, as you know, an outstanding defense. Yeah. And, really in that game they were able to move the ball pretty well at times. They shot themselves in the foot and killed drives on some turnovers. But they put up about 300 or more yards, I think it was, in that ball game. So that gets your attention right there.
Yeah, we got to be ready. I mean, we're going to have to do a good job of making it difficult for the quarterback, from a defensive perspective. And then offensively, we got to do a good job of making sure that we're taking advantage of first down really well and putting us in better positions on second and third down to make conversions. And hopefully we can create some explosive plays that we haven't had the last couple of weeks, because that could be a big difference in the game for us.
Mm-hmm. Offensively, what have you noticed? What will they try to do against your defense?
They'll be very similar to how we operate, actually. So that should be good for our defense from that standpoint, is they're seeing a lot of similar concepts in the pass game. They run a lot of RPOs, play actions. Against Luther, they did a lot of like what we call a glance route, which is like a 5-yard bang post. They were hitting that a lot off of RPOs. So we got to be ready for those things. And their quarterback did a good job of throwing and getting the ball out on time. But they're very similar in terms of the way that they operate and what they're doing to what our defense has been seeing pretty much every day since spring.
Defensively, what are you looking at there as far as a scouting report on the Loras defense?
Well, they do a lot of unique things. They move their guys around a lot. They base out of a 3-man front. But they'll move and stem their guys and bring a lot of different pressures. So, from a quarterback standpoint, we got to be prepared for that and making sure that we're getting guys where we want them to so we can protect ourselves. And then maybe limiting what we do a little bit so our guys can just play clean and be at their best. So they're going to bring a lot of different pressures, move around. You'll see a mix of coverages. But again, like dealing with some of their injuries, they have some guys maybe playing in some spots that they haven't played before, or early in the season at least.
Mm-hmm. It all comes down to, it's probably going to be a tight game, and as you talked, it's so important to take care of the football and and be as clean as possible, because every play counts, and I'm sure that's what you're going to be stressing here.
Yeah, every play matters. We can't. If we make a mistake, we just got to we got to respond to it the right way. Learn what we can from it, move on to the next one so it doesn't turn into 2 or 3 plays. And if we can do that and get ourselves out of maybe a bad play or two, we'll be okay. So it's not going to be just one play, one mistake that we're, ending the game or something like that, but we can't let that turn into 4 or 5. And we got to minimize, those critical errors and pre-snap penalties. If we can play as clean as we did, 2 weeks ago, we're gonna be in good shape.
Any final thoughts on Loras before we get ready to talk to Coach Hookstead over here?
No, I'm just excited for a great battle and to be a part of this rivalry. Like we talked about, it's a unique thing. And, our guys are excited for this opportunity, and it's just another opportunity for us to grow together as a program and as a team and keep pushing forward.
One thing I did want to mention before we let you go, I had it written down in my notes here. Congratulations to you, since I think we were talked last, inducted into the Lakeland University Athletics Hall of Fame. That make you feel a little older, I guess?
Yeah, it makes me feel something. I don't know, like those things are all kind of weird. I don't want to say weird, but it's just, to me, it's a team game. So like, it's cool. It's awesome to be honored in that way, but like, you're not there because of just you, you know what I'm saying? So like, to be inducted into a Hall of Fame, like I feel like I'd rather have maybe a team or two that I was a part of be honored or recognized. So, on behalf of those guys that I played with and the coaches that I played for, like I'm happy for all of us and not just myself. So it's just kind of like for me, it was just a little weird, I guess.
I can get it. I get it. Coach, before we let you go, Miles Hookstead's going to be stepping over here, your offensive coordinator, and you inherited him off of the previous University of Dubuque staff, head coach Stan Zweifel, who's a player here. So, I mean, guy knows UD football inside and out, and I'm sure you're extremely pleased that he decided to stay with you.
Yeah, it's huge for us. It's kind of like getting Dalton Wood to come back for his 5th year. To have guys stick around that have been here for a long time. They know the ins and outs of this place and what it's like to be, one, a student athlete, but then also a coach here. It's huge for our program. It's huge for our players to have that continuity and to grow that legacy. He's a great two-sport athlete here. His wife Kelsey's a big part of the program. They have 4 sons, and Wes, Cam, Trey, and Bray. They just had twins last year. So it's really cool just to have the whole family a part of our family. We're very fortunate.
Yeah, you guys can identify with kid stories.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Coach. Well, we'll let you go. Best of luck as you head over to the Rock Bowl there on Saturday, and we'll be talking to you next week as we break that game down and then look ahead to the next game on the schedule. Thanks for joining us, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Head Coach Ryan Myrie joining us on the UD Football Show with Coach Myrie, and Miles Hookstead will come over and talk a little bit with us when we return here on the UD Football Show. University of Dubuque Football Show here on this Monday night. As you can see, the lights in full effect as the JV game going on behind us right here at Chalmers Field. And it's good to have Miles Hookstead join us, offensive coordinator for the Dubuque Spartans, former Spartan football player, of course, and entering his 12th season as a coach. So we can call you a wily veteran now, Miles.
Not yet, but we're getting there.
Getting there. Well, let's talk about, first of all, your transition offensively this year. Has there been a lot that you've had to adapt to, changes? But, it's all seems like everything's coordinating and really meshing together.
Yeah, I mean, you go from one head coach to another. There's always going to be a lot of transitions, things that are going on. And just like our players have to adapt, the coaches that are still around had to adapt as well. And Coach Myrie came in with a really explosive offense he's really tried to perfect over the last couple of years, and going against that, seeing that each and every single year. It's been good to learn from things that were my weaknesses, the RPO system. I didn't really dive into a lot of that in the previous offense. We got into it a little bit the last couple of years. But being able to learn from those things and then mesh some of my ideas with his ideas and be able to kind of create this new offense with a lot of his principles. It's been a journey, a lot of kind of bumps early on, but we got a lot of those meshed out during the spring practices, and we've been able to kind of hit full stride here. And we're really starting to hit that stride now as we start to see the last couple of games.
Over the last couple of games, where have you seen the biggest improvement offensively, would you say, from your view?
I think the biggest thing is just getting our whole team to understand the whole offense. It's one thing to know, hey, I'm a wide receiver, this is my route, or I'm a left tackle, this is who I block. Being able to see our quarterback especially kind of know that, hey, each play we have multiple different options to go to execute, to really let the defense pick, hey, how do you want us to beat you? And that's really what our quarterback's done a better job of, whether it's Ben Gultig or the freshman Joey Romberg. I mean, it's been really impressive to watch both of those guys kind of dissect the defense. And then being able to see the chemistry, the timing, all those things, especially in this type of offense, you got a lot of timing things. We got motions, we got shifts. We're going a fast pace. Being able to get just a deep ball on rhythm with our quarterback to our wide receiver. So those things are really starting to come into focus here, which is starting to show some of our explosive plays we've been having.
Luxury that those quarterbacks had is, a lot of weapons back from this year. I mean, a lot of a lot of guys they can spread the ball to, and just talk about the weapons that you got and how they performed so far this year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you start up front with our starting center, Wesley Spitzmiller. I know people don't think of an old lineman as a weapon, but he is a weapon.
He is a weapon.
He is huge to have. Just be able to, he could tell you what every blocking scheme is, what every guy has to do, how they're supposed to do it, the technique. He's very smart in those regards. Moving right out to our wide receiver core. I don't know that there's a better one overall in the whole conference. You know, you got Cameron Bryce, been doing his thing here for a couple of years now, and Hunter Preston, who's a local kid who has really come into his own the last 2 years, and he's having a really good year this year. Wade Sheets coming off that injury still, trying to get kind of in the flow of things. And then Jamari Jenkins at the tight end position. Those guys are really explosive in the throw game. Tyler Olenishek got him back. He was here for a couple of years. He went away. Was able to get him to come back in the running back position. So there's a lot of weapons out there that we can really utilize, and it's kind of finding who we want to utilize in a certain game. That's been big for us the last couple of games, especially being able to say, hey, these are what the defensive weaknesses are, and now these guys will have a bigger part of the game plan. And on top of that, our guys not being selfish and getting upset that they might not be the focal point that week. You know, being able to understand that, hey, there's different options each and every single play and week to stay the course, to do your role, to do what's asked of you, because when your time's called, you better be ready, and I think our guys have done a pretty good job of that.
Do you feel like the depth of the offense has really improved? You've got guys at that number 2 spot that don't miss a beat, or even going down to the number 3s?
Yeah, for the most part. You know, we got a lot of young guys, which is a great thing for the future, but not always the best thing in the present time. But we've got some nice young freshmen that are coming into this program that are really starting to come into their own. And you can especially see during practice. I know the fans don't see that on Saturdays, but what our guys are able to do, put in the work during the week to really make themselves better, but they're making our defense better. Our defense is one of the tops in the conference, and they have been that way for a number of years now. And that's because of our young offensive skill and our offensive scout team in general. They get our defense to play better during the practice week, which then translates to them doing what they do on the field, taking the ball away, big third down stops, big fourth down stops, all those things. That's a direct correlation of how well our scout offense prepares our defense, and they don't take it easy on them during that week.
I know you're looking forward to the rest of the schedule, especially starting with this Saturday, the Key City Clash. You've been around it longer than anybody on this staff, so you know the ins and outs, and it really is a special game.
It is. I was in here when you guys were talking about it earlier. There's nothing quite like it in all of college sports. You know, I don't know if there's another thing that has the proximity to be within 6 blocks of each other. Sure, you got Tobacco Road of North Carolina, Duke, which I'm a big fan of that rivalry, but you don't have anything quite unique as this. And then to your point as well, when that game's over, you go out and grab something to eat. You go hang out with your buddies. You run into those guys again. So the rivalry never ends. It's not a hatred, I don't think, for either school, but it's definitely a huge respect that you want to make sure that you win this game, because you're going to see those guys not 365 days from now, but for the next 365 days you're going to see them. So you want to make sure that you go out there and you play your absolute best. You perform for our campus, our school. I mean, you look around at our facilities, what we have, and you want to do it not just for our current team, but for all those guys that came in the past, all those guys that played, all those people that have donated the money to have the facilities that we have, all the people that have been in administration to lead us through some of those bad times at the turn of the century. This place was on, pins and needles to be able to, honor those people that helped us bring us out of that thing. And that's the way that we can do it, is in this football game.
And you don't want to see an empty spot in the coach's office.
No, I'd like to still have that job when Sunday rolls around and
the
stuff.
Key, the key is what I was referring to.
Absolutely. But yeah, I mean, in all honesty, you want to be able to have those things to be able to say that this is what we can do to contribute to the success of the University of Dubuque, and it's a small piece of it, but in the eyes of a lot of people, it goes a long, long way.
Anything else you want to add about the offense to this point, or the team in general going forward here for the rest of the 2024 season? Yeah,
I mean, obviously we're excited about what we're putting together. I mean, a lot of bumps along the road. Those first couple weeks through fall camp, we played a tough non-conference. I'm sure you talked to Coach Myrie about that. I know you guys talk weekly about that, but we play 2 non-conference teams that are leading their conferences right now. We play UW-Platteville, who just knocked off 2 top 5 teams in the country, and they're winning the WIAC right now, arguably the best conference in all Division III. we get beat by Aurora in a really tight game here, and they're winning their conference right now. And our only other loss right now is to the team that's in first place in our conference right now, Co College. So we're playing against some really good competition each and every single week, and it's starting to see this thing come together as well. And then on top of that, I did want to put this personal note in there. There's a lot of people down in Florida right now that we have guys on our team, or just the millions of people down there in Florida that have been hit big time by these hurricanes, whether it's Georgia, North Carolina, or or Florida itself. But our thoughts and prayers to everyone down there, the players of our team, their families, but just everyone throughout there. We hope that everything starts to come along, recover, and those dang hurricanes stay away from you guys. So we're thinking about you guys.
For sure. Thanks a lot for bringing that up. And, Coach, we appreciate your time. Good to see you again on the show, and we'll see you around campus here. Thanks a lot for joining us, and best of luck rest of the season to you and the rest of the Spartans.
Thanks, Tim. Thanks for everything you guys do, too. We appreciate it.
You bet. That's Miles Hookstead, assistant coach and offensive coordinator with the University of Dubuque Spartan football team. Well, that's going to wrap it up for our UD football show. Be sure to be viewing. If you can't get over to the Rock Bowl, it'll be on udspartans.com. The link will be available to the broadcast. It'll be produced by Loris, so you'll have to deal with that on the UD Spartan broadcast. But anyway, you can watch it. But if you can get it at all to the Rock Bowl, make sure you do that and support the Spartan football team. Thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you next Monday evening at 6 o'clock with the UD football show.